I found my pom-poms. Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. For the next couple of weeks, it is still rush weeks. We've stayed here at home and visited Kennesaw State University, and now we're traveling up the road to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, where they have a really cool program called the Mosaic program. We'll find out all about it, as with me today is Amy Rutherford, the director of the Mosaic program at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Hi, Amy. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Gina?
I'm good. Thanks so much for being on the show. Part of Rush Weeks, I wanted to travel to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. It's just like a 2-mile drive up the road. Can you tell our viewers about this one-of-a-kind program in Mosaic?
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me on today. So Mosaic is a program that is housed on the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga's campus. We are housed under the umbrella of the Disability Resource Center, but we're kind of standalone. We support students as they kind of transition into college and, more importantly, as they transition out and are seeking career opportunities after they graduate.
That's kind of important, too, to kind of have that follow through, because a lot of young adults that I talk to find themselves right out of college without a place to go, without a job, and then they become very isolated. So it's good that the Mosaic program. Now, what are the different kinds of things that like kids can expect within the Mosaic program? I know that coaching is very important there. Do they get peer-to-peer coaching or coaching from leadership? How does that look?
So we have 4 main components of our program, and a student has to, so we go through an application process. A student finds out that we exist. Maybe they're interested in the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. They come to us, they apply to the university, and they have to be accepted into the university as a degree-seeking student. Then they apply for the Mosaic program, and then they have to go through our application process, which usually happens the semester before we would get them in the February-ish zone. We interview a handful of students, and then we accept a soft cap of 10 to 15 per year. And then for those students who are accepted, they must engage in all 4 of our components. And so our components consist of coaching. So the coaching is 1 hour a week. That is for all students who come in, just as like a basic life coaching of transitioning in, all the social nuances that exist on a college campus, all the academic changes, and so how to communicate with your faculty members or your students, peer students in your classes, but most importantly, how to prioritize the academic demands that exist in the college setting. And so what do you have coming up this week? What do you need to focus on? How do you balance your time appropriately? And so that's one of the 4 components is the coaching, and that's kind of what that looks like. Another component is our supervised study, where students are required to study in a space that's approved by our staff, is considered a Mosaic designated study space. And they come here and they just do what you do outside of the class. We don't have official tutors that work with us, but what we found since we've been around for a while is that folks who want to tutor come into our space and offer some support for students. And so we have an academic coordinator that kind of brings in and help bridge that connection so students can kind of navigate the tutoring experience as they please. But we just provide the space and kind of maybe a little oversight, not too much oversight, but just kind of looking to see that students are doing the things outside of the classroom. And so that's our second really component.
Yeah.
And then we have the peer mentoring. And so each student that's a part of the Mosaic program is paired with another student on campus. That kind of helps them navigate the things outside of the classroom, getting involved with clubs, socializing as a college student, just navigating like what you experience as a college student, and making sure our students are getting out of their rooms, engaging, kind of getting, engaged in the things that happen outside of the classroom that promote so much growth for young adults. And then we tie all that together with a credit-bearing curriculum that was designed in-house essentially by students. So we were kind of on this search several years ago about what do students need? What are they looking for? And students were bringing stuff to us. And so there were 3 of us at that time that were just like, okay, nothing out there exists. We're going to write our own. And so we developed the Basics College curriculum, where we have students work through that during their 4 or 5 years while they're here at UTC. all those other components come together and students receive a letter grade with the course that they have to take during their time within the program.
I think the Mosaic program, like you said, kind of a one of a kind. And the fact that the students brought what they really want and need to you makes all the difference. It's like students teaching you, this is what we really need. Amy Rutherford, the director of Mosaic at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. When we get back, we're going to look at what the housing looks like there when you go to UTC and the cost too. Stay with me.
At Atlanta Swim Academy, we offer a free baby splash class, ages 3 to 5 months, for amazing parent-child bonding, socialization, water acclimation, and cognitive development opportunity. We are the Atlanta Swim Academy.
Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. With me today, Amy Rutherford, the director of Mosaic and the big program at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Just a few hours up the road. Amy, what does the housing look like? Are they put into pods? I mentioned this last week on the show that when I went to the University of Georgia, I stayed at Sewell Hall, and we got like an individual room, and then we all shared this common room with a bathroom. What does that look like for the kids in the Mosaic program at UTC?
Yeah, so the housing here at UTC is actually, there's two reasons I chose UTC when I was picking colleges several years ago now. But the way our housing and our residence halls are designed is kind of what drew me in just as a student in general, right? So we have a very similar setup, individual bedrooms with a shared living space. So that shared living room, shared kitchen, and then like quad type bathrooms. And so two people, some residence halls have 2 people to a bathroom, but then we have more, shall you choose to do the more traditional style of housing, we have that housing option available here at UTC as well, where you share a room and then bathrooms are on the same hall, or it's more of like sharing a bedroom. And so there's just a variety of options available. A lot of the freshmen are actually automatically kind of placed into that traditional style housing option. But here at UTC, students can also, and at most colleges actually, students can ask for accommodations as they're navigating that housing process, where some campuses do through the Disability Resource Center, some housing folks manage this. Here at UTC, it's all done on the housing page, but the Disability Resource Center kind of goes in on the back end and approves those accommodation requests, where students can ask for that shared, those individual bedrooms, maybe any kind of like accommodation, physical accommodation needs, anything and everything can be requested essentially. And then they go through and get the documentation and kind of sort through what's reasonable and what's not.
And so now, Amy, the big question everybody wants to know, and all parents, because it's, hey, we got to pull out an extra loan. We got to break the 401k. What are we going to do when we send our kids to school? How much does Mosaic and UTC cost in general?
Yeah, so the Mosaic program is an additional $5,000 per semester tagged onto the tuition. And we have partnered with, so one of the things when we developed Mosaic back in 2008 is one of the things is we wanted to do is make it affordable to all families. But since it is a service that's being provided in addition to kind of what's required by law and the ADA, we have to charge to have our staff. And so we try to keep it as low as possible, but that's where you'll see that variation in cost across the board with different programs. We have a strong partnership with Vocational Rehabilitation Services that kind of supports that fee shall a family choose to go through that process. And so it sounds scary, and I know, but we believe students are getting about 8 hours of direct support each week from our team. And so if you do an hour-by-hour breakdown, it's what we have to sustain.
So that's $5,000. What's the cost of regular tuition just to go to the school then?
I need to look that up for you. It's around.
It's been a long time since you were in school, right?
It has been a long time since we've been in school. I think it's on average like $10,000. Once you pick the housing, different housing options make that go up.
Sure.
I think that they say to budget for about $10,000 if you're going to live on campus as well.
And now you had mentioned the vocational rehab and partnering with them. Are there other grants and scholarships that families can apply for through UTC? Or because a lot of kids come from Georgia and they're then paying out-of-state tuition on top of that, right? So are there any other opportunities for families to get a little bit more support?
Yeah, so Tennessee and Georgia have great reciprocity, right? So there's a way for a client to have a dual state case within the VR system. And so they can actually access resources that we have here in Hamilton County while they're here in Hamilton County, and they can kind of share resources if needed. So that's kind of a newer thing with VR. I don't know if they do it all the time, but it definitely makes sense that if we know that Tennessee's VR supports like the Mosaic program, or if you're going somewhere else, another state supports another state, there is that reciprocity that can happen across state lines, and VR departments can work together. I always encourage families to just apply for the standard application, the scholarship application, and just see what happens. I mean, when I was a student coming through, I applied every year, and every year I kind of picked up like $500 to $1,000 of random things that people, donors, whatever, just what I was majoring in, kind of applied to it. And so if they list that they're coming to Mosaic, like a specialty program, or that they have a disability, there's always kind of pockets of money that pop up that institutions are looking to plug in. So it never hurts to apply for just the standard scholarship application.
Awesome. Amy Rutherford, the director of the Mosaic program at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. When we get back, we're going to find out about the social activities and what life is actually like on campus for a young adult there. Stay with me.
It can be hard to find a sitter you can trust, even more so if your child has special needs, autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. As parents, we have to protect our children. My Special Sitter has you covered, in-home or on the go. When you need a sitter you can trust, respite is just a click away at myspecialsitter.org.
Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. With me today, Amy Rutherford, the director of the Mosaic program at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Go MOCs, right?
Go MOCs.
And speaking of MOCs and having some fun with education and fun should go hand in hand. No matter if you're in, secondary education and post-secondary education. What kinds of social activities does the Mosaic program have for young adults so that we make sure they are out of their rooms, off their devices, and actually doing really what college to me was all about, which was being a social butterfly outside of learning?
Yeah. So, I would like to say that the program that we designed is the magic, but it's not at all. I think that it brings people together, like-minded folks together in the same space. And that's where the magic happens. People begin to kind of foster relationships and find peers that are like-minded and shared interests. And so the Mosaic program, the class kind of brings some of that out in students is what we've seen, but we have 2 layers, right? So we have a campus coordinator who is always planning and programming. So we did mini golf on Chamberlain, which is a big field here on campus that's kind of open to campus. And we saw people kind of trickling in. It was hosted for Mosaic, but other students started trickling in. So that was one of our big events this past year. We have game nights. We have movie nights. We have themed study hours. So I mentioned one of our components is that supervised study. We have theme nights that they study in the beginning and then maybe they end with a social activity. We've done trivia here. We believe that a lot of the growth and a lot of the learning happens outside of the classroom. And so I think I scare some people, right, when I say that, but it's true. Like, we learn how to interact with others, which is a skill that's we have to practice for the rest of our lives. And so we really invest a lot in social engagement and just creating opportunities for students.
That's awesome. And are the application processes open right now for kids who want to attend UTC, whether it's for the fall or for where are we at in the application process? Like, what are kids applying to if they apply today?
If they apply today, we have actually gone through our interview and we have selected the incoming class for the fall. But I'll say this, if people want to apply and they mention that they've seen this, we'll take into consideration their application. It's the potential of adding another staff member, which then allows us to add more students. And so if folks want to just kind of email the UTC Mosaic at utc.edu and say that they saw this and that they're interested if they could still get an application in. We'll review some candidates, folks that hear this.
That's awesome, Amy, because I actually know a parent who has had a child attend all 4 years at UTC and just recently graduated, and they moved away, like they're out in Arizona or Nevada or something. And I'm like, how are you dealing with that, Mom? She's like, it's like he's a completely different person. He's like, yes, he's on the spectrum, but he like got so much out of the Mosaic program and UTC that he just spread his wings and flew like the MOC he is.
Yeah, that's what we love. We love to see students who get the confidence and the skills here, right, that allow them to go out and do great things, not just in our community, but, across the country.
I'm going to put Lyric maybe on the waiting list there at UTC. He's got a couple more years to go.
We would love to have him. Please have him apply.
And Amy, where can people find you guys at?
Yeah, so if you just go to the utc.edu and type in /Mosaic, we pop up. We've got a video up there now. We're updating our video and some of our promotional stuff. But the truth is, Gina, we don't have to promote too much because the word of mouth does it for us.
It sure does.
It does.
It sure
does.
does.
utc.edu /Mosaic.
Thank you, Amy, for being on the show. I appreciate you. You were a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Amy got back with me, and including the Mosaic program, tuition sits just over $10,000 for kids to attend UTC each semester. And don't forget, there's still opportunities to apply for scholarships, funds, and grants. And if you're in the Atlanta area and north, you get a regional discount. Regional tuition discount applies for anybody kind of on the border of UTC. So it's nice to see that we here in Atlanta can take advantage of that discounted tuition, right? I would be remiss if I also didn't mention a lady named Jane who came up with a service for all of us parents who have kids getting ready to spread their wings and go off to college. It's called collegeautismspectrum.com. That's a website that you can find every college that offers a program for our neurodiverse and the cost of tuition. So again, that website, collegeautismspectrum.com. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention our friends at Beacon College expanding their footprint here in Atlanta and offering up those core classes in Sandy Springs, partnering with the Cumberland Academy. In-person college classes, college credits in all core classes. Beacon College partnership includes the additional courses on emotional regulation, college relationships, writing skills, and more. Daily check-ins and executive functioning assistance with college transition counseling. Daily independent living skills, social activities, and culinary classes. So make sure you reach out to Shari. Her email address is below. Thank you so much for checking out Life with the Spectrum. Rush Weeks continues next week with our final stop across state lines. Once again, we head to the University of Alabama. So you're not going to want to miss an opportunity to possibly send your child there. I appreciate you checking in each and every week. If there's somebody I need to be talking to, make sure to comment below. DM me. You can always reach out on my website, gcast.com. That's GKASTS.com. Till next week, I dropped my pom-poms out of the equation, so woohoo! It's Rush Weeks right here on Life with the Spectrum. See ya!
Bye.